Too often, the focus is on the weaknesses of a youngster with Asperger's or high-functioning autism. This is a common occurrence for a boy or girl with poor social skills, poor communication skills, or any other challenges. This is especially true of a youngster with unacceptable behavior related to his or her disorder. Hello everybody, this is Mark Hutten, and in this video we want to look at strengths-based education for students on the autism spectrum. Kids with Asperger's and high-functioning autism already feel that they're different. So it's up to us to teach these young people that different is not bad and that each of us has special strengths. We can help that process along by showcasing each youngster's special strengths and interests. Now, it's true that unacceptable behaviors can get in the way of promoting a youngster's strengths, and while punishment may reduce or eliminate a behavior temporarily, it doesn't provide stepping stones to more appropriate and acceptable behavior. Problematic behaviors need to be addressed in a positive way. There are triggers for behaviors that, when identified and eliminated, result in dramatic reduction of unacceptable behaviors. Focusing and building on a youngster's strengths can lead to a reduction in poor behavior. All children on the autism spectrum have strengths, but sometimes they're not obvious. We need to find those areas of strength and build on them. Every child with Asperger's or high-functioning autism needs to feel that he's making a contribution to his environment. He needs to feel important, and he needs to taste success. Inappropriate behaviors often diminish or disappear when the youngster feels recognized and valued for his contribution. The child walks taller, gains self-confidence, and has a more positive outlook. A strengths-based perspective assumes that every child on the autism spectrum has resources that can be mobilized towards success in many areas of life and is characterized by efforts to label what is right with the child. A strengths-based philosophy explores ways to empower special needs children to flourish rather than simply survive, and presupposes that capitalizing on one's best qualities is likely to lead to greater success than would be possible by making a comparable investment of effort into overcoming personal weaknesses. Strength-based models embody a child-centered form of education with the primary goal of transforming special needs students into confident, lifelong learners whose work is infused with a sense of purpose. A foundational assumption of strength-based education is that potential exists in all students on the spectrum and that teachers do well to discover and implement the kinds of learning experiences that can help these students realize this potential. Let's take a look at a few ways that teachers can implement a strengths-based educational approach. First of all, capitalize on learning styles. Children learn in a number of different ways. Visual learners learn most effectively from visual information, while auditory learners learn best from verbal or audio presentations, and tactile learners do well when touching or moving in some way as they take in information. While children can often learn to some degree in all of these different ways, many excel in one area so that instruction based on a particular style is much more effective than that of another. Capitalize on student interests. One of the best ways to motivate children is to incorporate their interests into the curriculum. As much as possible, allow the children to choose the topics they'll report on in a paper or project. Use computerized instruction. Most children enjoy working with computers, which can stimulate their interest in schoolwork. A wide assortment of available programs, from reading instruction to voice recognition software, makes computerized instruction very relevant in helping students on the autism spectrum. Activities and games that incorporate material from content themes can reinforce concepts for visual and tactile learners. Differentiate instruction. It's important to recognize that fairness in education doesn't mean that all kids are taught in the same exact way. Instead, it means accounting for the needs of individual children and adjusting the curriculum accordingly. Differentiation allows you to provide individualized instruction by changing the pace, level, or style of teaching to engage student strengths and interests. Differentiation instruction includes reducing assignments or extending deadlines to accommodate a child's abilities. Involve students in the educational goals. Children perform best when they feel they are active participants as opposed to passive subjects. Try to involve children in creating goals related to learning activities. Kids on the autism spectrum may have a negative attitude towards schoolwork, so incentives are required at the outset. Your goal ultimately should be to have students genuinely engaged in learning so that rewards become less important. Group students effectively. Group projects provide great opportunities for you to put together the talents of students in complementary ways. A child who struggles in one aspect of a subject may excel in another. So group students so that they can both showcase strengths and learn from peers. Also give careful consideration to the social dynamics of groups. Children on the autism spectrum benefit from working with students who are especially kind, patient, and empathic. And lastly, consider outside placement options. Some children on the autism spectrum may have needs that you simply can't meet in the regular classroom. At these times, work with your school's specialist to ensure skills are developed in other settings. A child with a developmental disorder might require intensive work with a speech-language pathologist, or an extremely disruptive student may need to spend part of the day in a program set up for children with serious emotional disorders. All children on the autism spectrum have strengths that are often unrecognized and neglected in traditional schooling. By becoming aware of those strengths and incorporating them into instruction, teachers can boost student achievement. Whether we're talking about students whose cultural background differs from the mainstream, or about students whose cognitive strengths diverge from the model commonly emphasized in schools, the same principle applies. Teaching to strengths works.